No, we've been talking about going to therapy for like a long time, so it makes sense to just do it on YouTube.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. We're here with Trisha and we're here with Kati, who is a licensed therapist. She's been on my channel before, and today we're gonna do a live therapy session. Not live, but we're gonna do a therapy session right here. And I'm pretty nervous. I'm feeling like Jake Paul right about now. Trisha and I have been dating for
how long?
Almost a year now, 10 months. And we've had our ups and downs.
We've known each other for a year and a half, officially dating 10 months.
Why do you always say that?
Well, I just want people to know, because you're like, oh, we've only known each other 10 months, but we actually hung out for a year and a half.
But that doesn't count.
Yes, it does, because we were hanging out in December, November, September. You know what I mean? We were hanging
official,
out. Yeah, like December we were going.
We weren't hanging out for some of those months, though, right?
Yeah, medieval times, Disneyland. All that stuff was in early last year.
I remember the medieval times post. Yes, I remember.
Yes, see, that was December.
I watched the vlog.
Okay. We brought Kati in to fix us up.
No, I have faith in this. Okay, what are we talking about?
So my first question, I guess, is and each of you can kind of take turns or add to the story, but how did you meet? Because it's been a year and a half since you met.
Yeah.
And then what made you start dating? Like, how did you fall in love? Tell me your story.
You know, I think the way we met is probably a big reason for all of our problems, which is I said to somebody, oh, I want to date a YouTuber, someone that will film with me all the time. And then this other person said, oh, I know the perfect person for you. Trisha Paytas. And I was like, oh, who's Trisha Paytas? And, I looked her up, and then I went and hung out with her. She was great. First 5 minutes I was talking to her, I felt like I've known her for my whole life, which is really comfortable. And I don't get that with a lot of people at all. Usually, like, I'm very, like...
Yeah, like when we first did the video, I was like, you're so nervous. Like,
yes.
She's like fidgeting like crazy.
Yeah, I get very nervous and fidgety. And so with Trisha, I was like, it was almost like I knew her in another life or something. And she was very, very pretty in person, and not like her videos, or what I had seen from her videos, at least, of her being like, telling everyone off, and I do it like this. She was actually pretty normal and pretty grounded, and really into having a good time, which was fun. And by good time, I mean like, let's go buy these blueberry muffins, like, or so whatever.
That's a good time.
That's a good time.
And that's probably the best thing about her, is like she likes like pretty simple things. Like, that's really what makes her happiest. Like, she loves going to this pasta place and walking across the street to the movies. That's like her.
Yeah.
That's like her.
Just a nice night
Yeah.
out.
So she's pretty simple, even though she's very complex.
That's pretty much how it went. And then I guess, do we say like the bad part of it, or no, or the good part? Or you want me to keep going with how we're dating?
Say whatever you want.
Well, then we just like, no, I mean, then yeah, we hung out.
That's how therapy works. You can't just edit it out.
Thank you. I know, you should put this whole thing on. That's why we need to go to therapy, because I feel like I can. No, but then no, it was good. We hung out like that one time. Then I didn't hear from him for like a month. Then I saw him again one time, and then didn't hear from him for like a month. Then I saw him again for one time. I started like bawling and going crazy, and he got scared of me and didn't call me for like months. And then that's when December came around, which was so weird. I was dating someone else, and he started like, that's when December was like, he kept asking me to hang out with him, which I know was for vlog footage, but like it would just be me and him going to Disneyland, me and him looking at Christmas lights, me and him, he's like, let's go ice skating, let's go, all this stuff like that. And I was just like, okay.
But you had a boyfriend at the time, so it was a safe place for me. So I could be like, we were just friends.
There's no pressure to date
no pressure
right away.
to date her. There was no pressure for me to be like.
But then you would say stuff, medieval time vlog, I'm gonna reference it. Then you would say stuff like, I really would want to date you, but like, I just don't know. And I'm like, what do you don't know? And there was like a whole 15-minute conversation in your car about how you want to date me, you thought about dating me, but you didn't know.
I maybe thought about it, yeah.
What didn't you know?
I think
like
some of her.
Have you dated since your divorce?
Not really, no.
Okay.
A little bit.
Okay.
Not really. And just I guess some of the highs and lows that she has, scared me. And most of the time she's like perfect, and then sometimes when we fight and stuff, it's like scary fights, and I don't know how to deal with that.
Yeah.
And then and also like her job, where she posts like certain things online. Like, I don't specifically have a problem with it. Like, it doesn't bother me. Like, that stuff doesn't really bother me. Like, I choose like not to really think about it. But like for my kids and stuff, like I was like concerned about that. I was like,
a little more protective.
Right. I was like, oh well, I don't know if I can have. This is going to be very problematic. As much as I liked her, I knew it was going to be very problematic for me if I let her into my life.
And has it been?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was like, Do you think it's true what he said about the highs and lows?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, obviously, I actually don't know because I've always been like diagnosed with like different things, like borderline personality disorder, bipolar. Like I've literally been. Someone told me once I was like schizophrenic, gave me like medication for it.
What?
So like, yeah, when I was like 15 years old, because I used to go to like.
Do you see things that nobody else sees?
No.
Do you hear anything?
No. Or shapes. I've been through all of it. Like
Okay.
you see animal figures in the dark and stuff like that. And I was like, no. So like I used to take medications like as a kid from like 13 to like 18 of like all these different like things. So I mean, I'm sure there is something wrong. I'm on not any medications for like the past few years and I feel more normal than ever.
Probably.
Having said that, like I know what he's talking about, the highs and lows. I don't really think of it as like bipolar or anything like that. Honestly, it feels to me like I just have a really bad anger problem, which I know and I've like been able to control a little bit, but I have a really bad temper. The dating thing where he didn't want to call me his girlfriend, but we had just gone to Maui together and spent a whole week together. And I was like, wait, so why aren't we dating? Like, what is the problem? Like, yeah, we hang out every day. It's like, why can't we be dating? Mm-hmm. So that was the other thing that I like.
When we went to Maui, I was like, I'll go with you, but I just want to go as friends. I don't want to date.
But we
that
weren't
was it.
friends.
Were you friends or were you like romantically involved?
I mean, we were, but we weren't. It was kind of a Jerica kind of thing.
See? Yeah, but they're 19. We're 45 and 30. And so it's like, at that point, we were doing everything that was dating. The only thing I was thinking, because my biggest thing is like cheating or like him like wanting to date other people. And I just hate that in a relationship. And we were hanging out like 2 months at this point, and I was just like, okay, so you just don't want to be with me or you're looking for something better. Like, I was just so confused. And I was like.
And then when you would blow up at me, I would be like, oh, I don't want anything to do
I
with
hadn't
this
blown up
person.
with you at that point.
Huh?
Your upset is warranted, or do you think it's
No, yeah,
disproportionate?
I don't think it's warranted. I think she says things to me like, you made me get angry. No one should be that angry over whatever I do. You know what I mean? Like, there's no reason for uncontrollable anger towards me, no matter what I do.
Have either of you ever been in therapy? You've been in therapy.
Yeah.
It sounds like yeah.
I've been in therapy my
And
whole
you have
life.
too?
Yeah.
Have you heard of like I statements versus the blame game?
I blocked all.
Cheesy.
I have heard.
I
I've heard
blocked
that.
it all. Fair enough.
No, but I have heard of that.
Another therapy session.
Yeah.
But the
Right.
like you made me tends to like cause people to get defensive and shut down.
Yeah.
And so if we can say like I felt angry or I'm angry because it would be important to me to feel like I'm your girlfriend because I'm afraid, I have trust issues and it would make me feel more secure versus like you made me angry.
Yeah.
Allows him to hear you versus like potentially shut down and feel attacked. And
Let's say we did break up. I always think this, like, if we break up, I have to find someone that would want to, like, be with me and commit and, like, know him for a couple of years and, like, have kids. And, like, to find that, it's going to take me years, and then I'll be too old, by the time it all happens. So part of me is like, maybe I just shouldn't have kids. I don't know. I'm not, like, totally, like, I want them, but it's also, like, if he doesn't, I'm not going to.
She also sends me, like, really, you send me different messages so much.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's times when you're like, oh, I really want kids, and then I've seen you other times be like, oh my God, I could never do this.
Well, you do the same thing with me, though. Sometimes you're like, I could have one kid with you, maybe. And then you're like, I don't want kids at all. So you do the same
And I
thing.
think that's normal when it comes to children because it's such a big commitment. If it's like waffling on regular things, like
Right.
getting married shouldn't be something you go in and out of until you're like, I mean, obviously you can think about it on your own, but you shouldn't like, maybe I don't know, maybe I hate you, maybe I love you. That's not going to bring us anywhere healthy.
Yeah.
But like children is something you can talk about, hopefully, even though you don't think you want anymore and you're not even 100% sure, but you'd like to have the option.
Yeah.
And being able to have that conversation should be okay for you to both, if you could both hear each other. Because my guess is, and I could be completely wrong, it sounds like you start talking and then you get angry because he'll say something that like is upset, like tips you, and then you shut down, and then you're just like, no.
I do. When she gets angry, I shut down because she
And then
can't
you're
be
more angry.
She can't be spoken to.
And then, where do you think the anger comes from? Like, has it always been this way?
Yeah, I think I just always had a temper. I do. I don't know. I think it's just something like
It's
I
funny,
can't
when
control.
when I was her age, I had a temper too.
But have you had like a rough upbringing or trauma or?
Like as a kid, yeah.
Yeah.
But to me, it wasn't traumatic. Like when I talked to therapists, I was like, oh, well, that's the reason this or whatever. And it's like when I was going through it all, it wasn't traumatic to me. And like when I think back about it, like I can talk about it and like it's not traumatic. Like I'll tell them about it and I'll be like, oh, like it wasn't that big of a deal. I get hurt really easily, but I think that's more from like my dad not coming around. You know what I mean? Because my dad lived in California. Like when they got divorced, we moved to Illinois. I was born here, moved to Illinois. My dad moved back to California and basically like he saw us sometimes and saw it not. And then my mom had like a different boyfriend like every week, So like I feel like that was like a lot because I didn't get along with my mom. I felt like my dad hated me and like all that stuff like that. So I think that's it. And people like leaving me is a huge thing. And it's always been. So.
That might be why people like suspected borderline personality disorder because like the abandonment is definitely part of it. And
So you like develop it. It's not what you're born with, borderline personality?
I mean, I believe you develop it. Everybody has different thoughts on this. But I believe it's born out of trauma mostly. And that's not saying, but I think that I think people think trauma has to be this big thing, like this big explosion. But it can also be like a lot of little things, like dad not being around, maybe parents fighting a lot. Unlike like bipolar disorder, borderline personality disorder is like episodic within a day, meaning like an episode of like feeling really energized, really good, really excited, and then like super depressed, super angry, super agitated, and then back we go. And that can be like, I don't know, 5 or 6 times a day. Where bipolar disorder isn't as quick. I mean, most people, not the people who are, now I'm getting like really, but like cyclothymic means they like cycle quickly. But even then it's like once a week or so they'll have something. So just considering like the timeline of it is usually, as a therapist, how you would like tease that out to figure out what it is. And I'm not saying you have any of those things.
No.
I'm just saying that like that's probably why you've had those different diagnoses around.
But the thing is I don't know if this has to do with it or anything, but even when I'm like being like mean, I used to be so mean and stuff, like I can be like verbally like abusive, I guess. Like I know I'm doing it. Like I'm not like unaware. Like I'm like, oh my God, like I cannot control it. And I feel so bad. Like within like a few hours I like apologize. I'm like, I'm so sorry. You know what I mean? Like I feel bad about it, but like I don't know what that is. I think that's just anger.
It could be, but anger comes out of hurt. So, like that's, I mean, I was even an angry kid. Like I was like, I could be super mean to people. And it was because I needed to process through like stuff I was going through because I was feeling hurt and I was feeling like ignored.
What do you suggest when we run into a situation where we're arguing and she's been set off?
There's a couple things. First, like I'd have homework for you where I need you to try to pay attention to how it feels before. Even using instances where you've already blown up, like if you, once you cool down, think back to like when was it triggered?
Like
what happened?
she'll say,
it might have been weeks before.
She'll say the most. She'll say like the most hurtful thing to me, and then I'm like, and then I go, I'm done. That's it. Never talking to you again. I was taking care of my kids the other day, and Trish was here, and we were like having a hard time like deciding what we were gonna do because one kid wanted to do one thing, one kid wanted to do another, and we were gonna maybe go to Disneyland and like anyways. So then Trisha had to go to the recording studio and was like, if you guys want to go to Disneyland, just go without me, that's fine. And I was like, okay, yes. And I was just like concerned with the kids.
Well, so then that's when I made plans, whatever. It's like not a huge deal or whatever.
And so
but
she went to go to the recording studio in my mind, which was like, oh, that's really good. Like that's something that I would want to go do, like work on an album. That sounds awesome. Like go do it, definitely. And I'll take care of my kids, which is my responsibility. And she looked at it more like, oh, like I was trying to get rid of her.
Well, as soon as I left, he's like, we're going to Disneyland now. And I was like, okay, because it was so tense. By the way, you left out this part because he's also, I mean, you've been diagnosed bipolar. He's also can flip. Like, he has bad mood swings. Like, not often, but when he does, he gets so angry, too. And you know you can get raging. So that morning, he was just not. He knew he was grumpy. Yeah. He was, like, miserable. He even said, like, I was, you know, like, he had the worst weekend ever. Like, you said that on the podcast, and then you went to Vardon's, and then you were happy. So he was, like, miserable all day the day before.
The fight we had.
No, you were miserable in the morning, babe, when I was still here.
Okay, so both of you get angry. But you might have a longer fuse. But yours might be worse. If you're like my brother's like, that'll take him forever to get pissed off, and then once he's mad, you're like, everybody leave.
Yeah, that's him.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
So both of you need to recognize the symptoms earlier. Like, that's something that I feel like we should all be working on, is like noticing before. And I know it feels like it's like, boom, like this thing happened.
Yeah.
But if it is that way, then we're gonna have to find when you know it's happening, like whatever those first symptoms are, when you're like, that thought, when all of a sudden you switch to be like, oh, you kidding? Then we're gonna have to implement some tools. So like we try to get, like the whole goal of therapy in my mind is like getting space between a thought or an emotion and an action. Even if you're mad, it's totally fine to be mad. Scream in your car, throw things, I don't care, but like not at other people, like on your own. Or find something that calms you down. Both of you, like, because I have a feeling you probably feel it. You might be able to notice when your fuse is lit before you're gonna blow up, but yours might be like, boop. You know?
Yeah, I feel like it is like triggered by like something because I react so like emotionally like quickly. I don't let things like build up, so I don't like think of like if something's bothering me. But it's always like, I don't know.
It sounds like it's more to do with like inclusion and connectedness.
Yeah.
So like including her and things and feeling like part of something, I think is important to you. Where for you, I'm not as sure. What set you off last time?
She just goes to the most awful place. Just says like really, really hurtful things.
What about in the past? Like, sans Trisha, like what are other situations that have like sent you through?
Set me off. I think most of the time in the past I was like just frustrated with myself. If I was like forced to do stuff that I didn't want to do when I was married, that would like make me upset or whatever, or make me mad.
So when you feel like your control is taken away?
Yeah, or just like my own, like I'm not like making my own decisions, or like I'm living my life for other people. which I feel that way like a lot in my life.
I was just gonna say, it sounds like, in like this whole outside perspective, but like it sounds like in a way, like a lot of things that are set up for you even now are still that way.
It's my whole life is set up to.
Yeah, because
to
like
please
even
other
the
people.
children thing, not, and this is, we love your kids, like,
Yeah,
not
of
that
course.
we're saying, but like that even takes, it's about them. Like you're like, I just am doing the thing for my kid. That's my responsibility.
Yeah.
I have to do this. It's not really about you. It's about them.
Yes.
Maybe Trisha is like the only place that you hope you can still do what you want and have control. Maybe. I don't know what other area of your life you feel like you. Maybe it's better if I say it this way. Like, what area of your life do you feel like you have the most control?
When I'm filming.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You know, that's like it's almost like if I'm not filming or working, I'm like completely lost.
So are there things she could do to make you feel better, like more in control?
No,
like
she does a really good job at like being like, oh, you don't have to stress, you don't have to work so hard, and don't worry about it. She's really good at that. It's just my own thing that I should probably get over.
Well, I don't like that. Like, just get over.
Yeah, or figure it out. You know what I mean? Because my life is
positive.
going by, and I'm like spending like my downtime like
Feeling like
Sleeping.
or like
He's been sleeping a lot lately.
or like being like, oh, I should be filming.
oh,
Like,
just like either anxiety
yeah, like
or
I should be
depression,
working.
kind of, like pick your poison. Like, am I
Yeah.
either sleeping all day or am I like stressed about
Right,
it?
or like so let's say it's the time when I'm with my kids. That time, like I'm enjoying it with them, but I'm also like, gotta make money, like gotta.
Oh yeah, like we talked about last time.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
You're worried
yeah.
it's all gonna blow up tomorrow.
And that's the only times I do get angry are those like times. Other than that, I mean, I feel like we do really well. Like the last blow up was, okay, yeah, it's the Disneyland thing, but then before that was just the moving in thing, and before that was the dating thing. And that was it. I mean, those are the three big blow ups I know of. Even when we've broken up before over like stupid things, like I feel like we don't really like blow up each other, like, cause like I feel like we have a good relationship.
Yeah, figuring out what sets both of you off, like just being aware, like even if it's just like notes in your phone or journaling. I mean, I like to journal personally, but not everybody likes that. But even just noting like in how it feels in your body, like for me, if I'm getting hurt, I swallow a lot. I think it's like me swallowing my feelings. That's what I imagine is happening. But then I start to get angry because then I'm frustrated because I feel bad. Because even though it feels like you have a really short fuse, I have a feeling there's certain buttons like connectedness. Knowing that he's going to be there for you, like security, trust. For you, it might be like no one considers you. You're doing everything for everybody else. Like when those buttons are pushed, just paying attention and then recognizing, like you should tell each other what those buttons are, so you know. So you know.
Like I think like the other day I said something like she was here in the morning and I said something like, okay, well let's get you out of here. And she had all these costumes and stuff. And she took it as like, I want to get you out of here.
Because I always feel like that when I stay at this house. Because even with his kids and everyone was just sitting around doing nothing, and he wasn't making a decision as like a dad, being like, we're all going to Disneyland, or like
was a different day.
Well, okay, I'm saying though, I always feel like I should be not here. Like I always feel unwelcome.
welcome.
Even like the other night, I was like, should I leave? Should I stay? Like I'm not.
Always welcome.
But that's not how it's just making sure that
Right.
that message is received.
Yeah.
So, but you can do him a favor and let him know, like, when, not in the heat of the moment,
Right.
but like even now, like what could he do so that you know you're welcome?
But if you did say that to me, if you stop for and like kind of verbalize your feelings, that would help. And I'll try to do it too.
Yeah, like saying, like, I feel like you're rushing
I'm
me,
guilty
like,
of
I'm
it
not
too.
welcome.
I feel like this is the best relationship I've ever had, except for that. Then I'm just like, well, maybe he doesn't want to be with me. Maybe like there's like a reason he's not. You know what I mean? That's the only thing that like. Other than that,
Yeah,
I
it's
really
hard
have.
because then you're hurt.
Yeah, I have like zero complaints because he's like really nice, really forgiving, like takes care of me. So it's like it's a really good relationship. But I'm like, maybe it's not real. Maybe he doesn't like want to be with me long term. I don't know. That's the only thing. Other than that, other than like literally, I don't know what else we fight about, or maybe we do. I don't know.
I don't know. There's just moments where I'm like, there's things that I don't like,
With me,
Yeah, I'm sure like there's things you don't like with me.
I
that's
couldn't
all.
tell you one other thing besides that I have an issue with you.
I'm sure. I mean, yeah, there's just things that
Like
happen.
what? I didn't know.
Like you were here the other day and I didn't like what you had on.
Well, you don't tell me. You've never once said that to me. What was I wearing? I don't even remember what you said.
I don't know. You
Or
just
what it
had,
was.
You had on something that was like revealing.
You've never told me that. What else?
I mean, I have. I've said like with my friends, like like put your clothes on, or if I walk in and like you have like no clothes on in front of my friends or something, that upsets me.
You also say it jokingly on a vlog to David, so I didn't know that was an actual issue.
I mean, when the camera's not on, I'll literally be like, put some clothes
You
on.
don't say that.
I do.
I mean, if
Well,
that's
if she gets angry too, I find people when we're angry, we don't remember things
Yeah.
because we're like, boo, we're just maxed out. But if that is an issue,
She's not angry
I
at these
li-
points.
Yeah, I always thought that was like, I literally thought it was a joke because obviously I'm like I dress that, but I didn't know.
I told you so.
Okay, so
Sometimes
Fix
I
it
sometimes
how?
I get up.
Would
Yeah,
you
she's
prefer
usually pretty
she's-
good. At
I
that.
always, yeah, that's why I'm like so shocked at what outfit
Or
you're
like
talking
or
about.
like
I
she'll,
always,
or like she'll like we'll go like to her house and like she'll have like no clothes on at the house. Like she'll have some clothes on.
just,
I think
yeah.
it's almost like sweet because it's like, no, you're mine. I don't
Right.
want everybody else to have access to what I have access to.
I get it, but also that's like, you knew that about me. You knew I post
know.
nudes, and you know I dress sexy, and like,
I know.
so it's okay.
Yeah, it's not really fair, is it?
Well, I don't know. It's kind of weird. It'd be
It's
like me trying to
dating a
change you.
stand-up comedian and being like, why are you on the road?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but
I know.
maybe every so often you can do them a favor.
I mean,
But most of the time, you just do you.
I do wear a lot of like t-shirts. I always have like your t-shirt on and like sweatshirt. I mean, like I can think of like 2 occasions you're talking about, and my boob does fall out because this nipple's higher than this nipple.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us. Go over to Katie's channel and check out all her videos and go watch the series she did with Shane Dawson, which was really good.
Also, can I just say that's the other confusing thing? He says he doesn't like it, but he'll like take all my nude pictures for me. So it's like I'm so confused. So you support me, but you also don't support me.
I take your nude photos because I don't want another man
Oh.
watching you nude.
Okay.